If you came back for the second episode of this tutorial, then I reckon you're ready to up your game with 3 more keybinds. Today we're going to learn E for examine, caret for drive, and M for map. So I'm going to give you a few examples of what you can do with the examine key. Mainly the way that it gets used, I think, is, especially early on, you walk up to something and you hit E to see what will happen. And it says, there is nothing that can be examined nearby. Good to know. So I asked myself, can I examine a window? And yes, I can actually. I can either tear down the curtains or peek through the closed curtains if they're closed. So let's say we didn't open the window curtains. We can walk up to a window, hit E, and peek through the curtains. That's handy. That way we don't have to open them and then everyone can see us. I can just walk around trying the E key. Now let's say I try E here. Nothing? No. Can I examine a bench? No. Can I examine a locker? No. Can I examine a staircase? No. There's nothing that can be examined nearby. Can I examine this NPC? Yes, I can. Now, I could just bump into the NPC by walking into him and get the same menu, but examine also works. A lot of things in Cataclysm can be done more than one way. Easily summed up in the expression, there's more than one way to skin a cat in Cataclysm. We'll get into talking with NPCs in greater depth in a later episode, but for now, just know that you can bump into them or examine them and interact with them yourself. The main reason that we want to learn the E for examine key at the evac shelter, which, by the way, I'll show you that we're in an evac shelter by tapping M for map. If you look in the top right-hand corner of the screen here, it says evac shelter C41. There's a bunch of these evac shelters, and it all has to do with the lore of the game. Looking at the square that I currently occupy, it says, Note Everett Stefan. That is not us. That is the noting that there's an NPC on the tile. Your graphical overmap, when you tap M, may be different than mine. I'm currently using the MSX Auto Plus tile set. There's lots of tile sets, and they're all great. Depends on which one you like. I can scroll around like so and see that there's a trailhead south from East Montpellier. Well, East Montpellier is up here. We may even be able to see the nameplate. And here we go. Now, it's just a simple fact of the latest experimental branch, I think. I don't think it does this in Steam's stable 0.g. But you are already familiar with a city near your spawn point. So I think that the lore reason for that essentially is that this character lived somewhere in or around East Montpellier before the Cataclysm happened and knows this much about the city. Was evacuated in this scenario, and there's many scenarios, but the default scenario is that we were evacuated and found ourselves in this evac shelter. So that is why we have a general knowledge of the surrounding area and the nearest large city or small town, what have you. The game is procedurally generated, so you never know. Remember in the last episode we made it up to the area of this orchard. We can see it on our map. Looking nearby, it looks like there are houses and a construction site that we didn't actually see using our X key, but they were revealed on the map. We have a mine and mine entrance down this road. Over here we have the famous and infamous Transcoast Logistics, which is basically like a, well, I won't even say, and various trailheads at the end of these rural trails. We know nothing other than that. That is until the point of an evac shelter, in my mind at least, is that you can walk up to one of these computer terminals. I'm going to hit X and highlight it so that we know that it is a computer console. It may look different on your tile set, but a standalone computer terminal with the screen glowing with dim artificial light. If examined closely, you can read what's on the screen and perform any allowed functions. It might even be possible to hack it, given the skills. Oh, that's interesting, and something I've never attempted. I just hit the E key for examine. We get evac shelter computer awaits our input. We can read the emergency message. No spoilers here. You can read it for yourself. We can also contact us. And it gives us a message and an address. We give the option of making a note of the location indicated by that address. If we do that, what we're going to reveal is, on our map, we now have a path to the so-called refugee center. Usually it is a very circuitous and dangerous path. As you can see, it goes around and through many cities. Oh wow, how circuitous can you possibly be? This is randomly determined, so your run is going to vary a lot. I have had these spawn very nearby. You see this blinking marker indicates that this is the object that we're viewing via the mission menu. Reach the refugee center. It's basic information provided by our map. I'm going to look at our map again and use our starting location as a reference point and just look straight toward the refugee center and find that it's actually not that far away. But this would be a rural path that we're going to be taking, probably crossing various roads and circumventing cities and so on. Personally, I highly recommend for a new player to use reaching the refugee center as a starting mission point. If you're new to the game, that is a great way to give your early game a sense of direction and purpose, and to give you a quest line to follow once you reach the refugee center. Alright, so we've learned that we can use the E key to examine various things, NPCs, computer terminals, and we've learned how to use our map. I can use the E key to also look at vehicles in such a way. I indicate the direction that I want to examine. I have this option to examine the vehicle. For some reason, this vehicle is already in our memory. It came with our scenario. This car came with the random default scenario that we picked. There's too much information on here for any noob. I'm just going to tell you that. Don't try to figure it out. Just forget it. I have a better option for you. If you're a new player and you just want to enjoy playing Cataclysm, then hop in the driver's seat, hold down the shift key, and tap the number 6 on a US keyboard. That is the caret symbol. If the vehicle is drivable, you will get the message, the muscle car's engine starts up. Or whatever vehicle, the bus's engine starts up, the scooter's engine starts up. You take control of the whatever car. We're now driving in Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. And believe me when I tell you that unless you're playing various modded versions that make the game more difficult, it will not be that infrequent for you to hop in a car and find out that you can just start it right up and drive away. The difficulty lies in figuring out how to drive a vehicle. And I'm going to try to make this a simple and straightforward process. We got a little bit lucky with this vehicle as far as it's going to be easy to test drive it, so it's not in a cramped parking spot or something, which sometimes I still struggle with. Using your number pad, let's experimentally do this. I'm going to tap either 8 or 2. And if I were using the arrow keys, that would either be up or down. They correspond to accelerate and decelerate. So let's say I tap the 8 key twice. I'm looking at the interface over here where it says 55%, that's gasoline. 180 degrees is our absolute facing. You don't need to know that, it's just there for your reference. We now have an indicator that we're accelerating toward 8 miles per hour and currently going 0 miles per hour. This is the key to understanding how speed in a vehicle is calculated for a turn-based game, which is a miraculous accomplishment in my mind. What I've done is I have accelerated to what will be 8 miles per hour. If I tap the 5 key, now you see that he has put the car in gear, and the game believes we're now going 8 miles per hour. If I tap the 5 key again, this is the wait key, bear in mind, past time. The car begins to move forward. Now we're moving forward at about 8 miles per hour. The way to stop the forward motion of the vehicle is to stop pressing keys, and whatever you do, don't hit 7, 9, 1, or 3. We're going to steer with 4 and 6, and we're going to accelerate and decelerate with 8 and 2. or we can use the arrow keys, but do not hit 7, 9, 1, and 3 because that will accelerate and turn at the same time, and it's way too confusing. So I want to slow to a stop. I'm going to tap the 2 key twice, and we are still going 8 miles per hour on this turn, but then when I tap 5, in the next turn we've reached a stop, and I can tap 5 a few more times just to make sure that our forward motion is arrested. Now if I want to back up, let's say I tap the 2 key about 3 times. I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to be going in reverse at 12 miles per hour. And as you can see, we take off at 12 miles per hour in reverse. So now let's say that I want to now pull forward. I can move the speed indicator to 0, tap the 5 key until we come to a stop. And notice there's some camera motion involved in this. And this is for the convenience of the driving player, you see, and not the driving character. I will demonstrate. If I tap the forward 8 key to accelerate to 12 miles per hour, I'm going to begin rolling forward. I can tap the 4 key in order to turn the vehicle into a left turn. The controls are relative to your direction of motion by default, I do believe, although they're configurable. So let's say on this turn, I'm going 12 miles per hour. I stop pressing the 5 key and I press the turn left key. Nothing has happened yet. I'm going to press it again. Now you see the car is still moving forward even as we turn. So if I continue to press the turn key, we're going to continue to turn. This is one way to turn the vehicle, but of course you're going to want to stop turning at some point. So let's say I indicate the vehicle direction using the little yellow square you might see there. And then I tap the 5 key. The car is going to tend in that particular direction until I make a change of direction. That is the 6 key twice. And now we've leveled off and we're traveling in this direction. Now here's the thing I want to do just to demonstrate the camera changes that I was talking about. If I accelerate up to say 48 miles per hour, and by the way, if you are new to Cataclysm, probably keep it between 4 miles per hour and 12 miles per hour. But if you accelerate up to 48 miles per hour, you can see that the car has slid to the bottom of our screen, and we got an achievement for going fast. So it was all worth it. Now, every time I tap the 5 key, the car moves more squares per turn because we're going faster than it was before. But in order for us to hopefully not crash into anything, Cataclysm has slid our car to the bottom of the screen, which I think is neat as heck. Now, if I want to turn around rapidly, let's say, because I see, let me tap X, I can go into Explore mode from the vehicle. We learned the X key in the last episode. Oh look, another car that looks like it's in relatively good condition. Looks like we're headed into some kind of town. I'm going to hit Escape to get out of the Explore mode. I can tap M to check my map while I'm driving. I'm going to zoom in, but I won't teach you the zoom keys until next episode. Yeah, we're definitely headed for the city itself. We can look over here and see there's going to be a wasp nest and then a whole row of houses on both sides of the road. This is probably a very dangerous area to drive in. If you're new to Cataclysm, don't drive into cities. Don't even walk into cities. Just chill out where you can survive for a short period of time, because cities are deadly. I'm going to turn around rapidly. Now, I can't decelerate instantly, but I can tell it that that's my intention. So let's say I want to decelerate to about 12 miles per hour. I've been tapping the 2 key. Now what I'm going to do is immediately start turning before the car even has a chance to respond to that change in speed. I'm tapping the 6 key to get turned. And we have decelerated to 12 miles per hour and turned around, and all is well. So don't panic. Don't be intimidated. It's not that hard to drive a car in Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. I hope you've enjoyed learning about these 3 new ways that you can explore the world of Cataclysm using the indicated commands. In the next episode, we'll explore 2 or 3 more commands that will help you take your Cataclysm game to the next level.